In this video, we're going to go over how to identify the skulls of the small mustelids, the weasels. So here I have a mink, a long-tailed weasel, a short-tailed weasel, and a least weasel. If you look at the dental formula of these four species, they're exactly the same. They have 4 upper cheek teeth, they have 34 total teeth, and the biggest difference is the size. As I mentioned in a different video, the mink is going to be the largest one, which has a CBL greater than 55 millimeters, whereas these other 3 are less than 55. So let's set the mink aside. Distinguishing these 3 then can be a little tricky. Generally, it's size, and so we have some numbers for you to know. Here with this least weasel, the greatest length is going to be less than 34. Right now, this is, let me just turn sideways to make sure I am getting the greatest length, which in this case is about the same as a CBL. This is 31.5. So that's less than 34. There is sometimes overlap in the size between the largest least weasel and the smallest short-tailed weasel, but we won't give you specimens that have that problem. So the short-tailed weasel then is greater than 34. Right now I'm measuring it at 38, 39-ish. For the short-tailed versus the long-tailed weasel then, we have greater or less than 44. So here this long-tailed weasel is 46, 47 versus less than 44. So there's another way to compare the sizes or the skulls of the long-tailed weasel and the short-tailed weasel, and that's the post-glenoid length. So now according to your book, the post-glenoid length, this is on page 5, is the distance from the anterior-most projection of the post-glenoid process and posterior-most projection of the occipital condyles. What that means in practice is you're measuring from this point right here. So we have this mandibular fossa, and we have this thing jutting out, kind of covering where the mandible articulates. We're measuring that to this, the occipital condyles, which is where we measured CBL. So you'll take this length divided by this length. Looking at this species then, our PGL, post-glenoid length, right there is about 20, maybe 19.5, and the total is 46. So if I take 20 divided by 46, I get 43.5%. That is less than 47%. This is what the book says. Compared to this short-tailed weasel. So we did the long-tailed, this is the short-tailed. This post-glenoid length is about 20. So same post-glenoid length, but the total CBL now is 39. So if I take 20 divided by 39, I get 51%. This back half of the skull is over half of the total skull CBL length. If you put these side by side, you can see that what the post-glenoid length is really measuring is how long the brain case is, how long the back half of the skull is. In the short-tailed weasel, it's very long.